All right, we are recording. Okay, so what brings you to Omegle tonight?
My friend was actually on, and I'm currently on voice call with her right now, but like it's fine. She's on her own call, and I'm on my own call. Yeah,
She's probably talking to someone else on her line or
she
something.
is. Yeah,
That's how it goes. Cool. Well, you mentioned that you're from Canada.
I
Could
am.
you tell us a little bit about what life is like in Canada, you think, compared to the United States or anywhere else in the world?
Well, I'm personally from like urban Canada, so it's a bit like knockoff America, if I'm being honest. But like, yeah, but it is pretty great, and I feel like it is pretty interesting. Oh, well, to be honest, Canada doesn't really have a culture. I feel like it's a huge mishmash of different cultures together, and I think that's pretty great. In my opinion, like for example, if you go around, you've got like different communities. Like for example, you've got Chinese community, Korean community. You can also go around and find the Indian community. There's so many different communities within Canada that kind of mash together to make Canada. And I guess like there is no Canadian identity, but the Canadian identity is being where you are in that scenario kind of thing. I don't know. It's kind of my
Now,
experience with it.
were you born in Canada?
I sure was. So
It sure was. That's awesome. And so do you identify with your Asian heritage much?
I do actually. Like I'm pretty confident to say that I'm Asian Canadian, and it's a good part of my community. Identity. Ooh, identity. Words.
It's
Yes.
okay. That's okay. This is like just to let you know, like this is a space, like this YouTube channel is a space where, you can not be so hard on yourself with language and, of course, like language is very important and specificity of language is important. But there's no need to be hard on yourself. This is a non-judgmental space.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have many of those these days, right?
Yeah.
So, do you feel like in Canada, do you think that it's a country that uh, you were saying that the indigenous people kind of are having a rough time of it up there, though, right?
Yeah. But I feel like something that people don't talk about enough is the fact that, I don't know, like Indigenous people's rights have been really looked down upon for a while. And people often say, like, oh, but like Canada's like America but nicer. But they really don't address the fact that, like, for example, Canada's had like really rough patches throughout their history. They've had like the the railway across Canada, and that was built off of like cheap labor from like the Chinese immigrants. They've had residential schools. They've had many laws made specifically to discriminate against Indigenous Aboriginal peoples, and even now, those people face like the like what's the word for it? Like they have to face the consequences of the actions of people in power years ago, and that's just something that really needs to be acknowledged, in my opinion.
Do you have any thoughts of how to proceed with kind of encouraging and empowering uh, Native American rights?
Well, for me personally, I think it's kind of just listening to people's voices. Like I personally am on TikTok pretty often, but there I was on Native American TikTok for a little while where people kind of just shared their culture, but someone also pointed out how like people should be supporting indigenous creators even if they're not sharing their culture for people's entertainment. And I feel like that's just kind of the core of it. Support them no matter what kind of thing. Let them have their voices be heard.
Yeah. Well, how about you with your Asian Canadian culture? Like for you, what do you identify most with your heritage, and what are some things that you think you've kind of put to the side?
Well, like for me personally, I kind of just started off with my Asian identity being a lot more, let's say, like more dominant in my identity. But I feel like as time goes on, I've been like really raised in this culture, so I've becoming more used to like I'm becoming more white as it goes on, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
mm,
And that's been terrifying to me, but also comforting to me in multiple scenarios. And I think it's kind of just part of
Good.
being a minority in a different
Yeah.
country.
Well, I think this is fascinating. Like for you, like if I could ask, like what's terrifying about it for you? Um, and have you experienced Well, let's just start with that. Like, what terrifies you about turning more white, as you say?
Well, to put it simply, my physical appearance is always going to be Asian no matter what. I can't change it unless I undergo, for example, like surgeries and that kind of things. But the thing is, I don't want to do that. I'm pretty happy with my appearance. So it's this constant reminder that I am, in fact, Asian. But then I go into this white culture and I realize that no matter what I do, I will never be perceived as white. I will always be Asian. And that would be okay with me, except the fact that I try to go into Asian communities and like countries, and I realize I'm a lot whiter than I
Oh,
thought
that's
I was.
interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you feel like you're in this middle ground where you're not Asian and oh, like I'm just voicing how I'm hearing
yeah.
it. Like you don't feel Asian enough to be in Asian culture, but you'll never be perceived as white, but you feel more white.
Like I want to say that I feel more Asian, but I can feel myself slowly getting more and more white. And I think that's also kind of terrifying. Nothing against white people, it's just
No, yeah.
I'm really proud of my Asian heritage. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like, it feels like it's slowly getting farther and farther away from me. And yeah.
Mm. What is it about your Asian heritage that you really value?
Like for example, like language, I feel like it's something so beautiful. And I feel like due to the spread of globalization, like a lot of languages are being lost through time, and it's important to hold on to your own. But I feel like English is becoming more and more my dominant. Like for example, 日本語話せるんだけど、やっぱり英語の方が上手になってきて、下手になってきてるっていう。Like I can't speak Japanese, but it's getting more and more diluted. It's I have an accent now, and I feel like that's just a reminder that I am not who I think I am. And yeah,
Oh, interesting. Wow. Wow. Yeah, this idea of like of we are who we think we are, right? It's like we really are what we are is just a collection of stories that we tell ourselves that we are and that other people tell us that we are, right? And and there's really nothing inherently good or bad or right or wrong about an identity, but I think it's important to embrace that change in a way. It definitely is important to embrace change because that's what's constant in life, you know. Um,
hmm
yeah, I'm just thinking out loud with the things that you're saying. Um, for you, oh, I should have written it down. I always do this. I have like these questions that pop up, and I remember the first one, and then I forget the second one after we move on.
yeah, I
Um,
do that too.
you know, it's if only my memory were better. Um, um, well, how about your dreams? Like as a human being, like what you know, putting heritage and identity aside, like what do you like to do? What are your loves or passions?
I feel like, well, I'm kind of just lost and listless, but like I think that's fine. Like in the end, I want my end goal to be happy. Like I want to find a job that I don't exactly hate. I don't want to hate what I do, I guess. But that's about it. Like I think I want to maintain happy relationships, stay happy. That's about it,
Hmm.
to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Maintaining like positive, loving friendships, and not
Yeah.
like wanting to beat yourself to death when you come home from work every night.
hmm
This is the Gen Z millennial issue. Um,
Well, you're not wrong.
that's saddening. But when you have free time, is there anything creatively you like to do?
Like I personally dabble more into music, I guess. I'm actually a pianist, and it's something that I'm like losing passion in lately, but it's still something I hold on to because it's something that I've done for so long, and I think sometimes you just hold on to things because you've been doing it for so long rather than because you like it, and I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Could I ask you how your parents, what your parents have your parents pressured you? I ask this a lot with people. Do you feel like your
Yeah.
parents had like a set plan for you that they pushed, or were they pretty open with your interests and supportive in that way?
I think they kind of just want me to do something that results in me not dying on the streets in the future. To be honest, like if I say like I want to be a singer songwriter, they're gonna be like, that's a bit of a hard road to pursue, and I get that. Like art industry is a hard road to pursue in the end,
Mm.
but it still stings a little to know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you start piano because you
I
liked
started
it?
really young. I actually started because my family was given the piano for free because my grandmother used to be a piano teacher and she had too many pianos. So she was like, I'll send you guys one. And we were like, okay. And I started learning.
So what is your relationship like with the piano? Like, did you really like it? Did you actually really like it growing up, or did you feel like you were forced to do it? Oh,
Oops, sorry.
are you okay? Oh, oh, someone came in. Someone came into the room. Someone came into the room. Oh, I didn't even get her name yet. Come on. Oh, I had so many questions to ask her too. I wonder if I don't hear anything. It's amazing. I'm just fascinated with there is still so much stigma to sitting down and talking to a stranger over a computer, even when it's in video. And even, I think this is getting to at the issue that we have with trusting others in our society, you know? I mean, I guess, I always say this, I'm like this 30-year-old guy on Omegle, right? Like talking to strangers. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, she's probably, can you hear me? I'm like talking so loud. I think your video stopped. Okay. What do I do? Yeah, I think you're. I think. Totally. Great. I'll start a Zoom sesh. Hmm. Ah, shoot. People do love Discord. Okay. Okay. Well, if hey, all right, everyone. Well, Stranger is typing. Pretty cool. Oh, let's see. So what was I going to say? Oh, okay. So it's just interesting to me how there's still such a taboo with talking to people. I mean, understandable. The stigma is we have to reclaim that stigma though. We have to reclaim the stigma of only awful manipulative people use the internet for community or for people for whatever they want. Uh yeah, code name. Okay. All right. Kashew. That's cool. She's fun. And I think she's so smart and she has such important insight. And I really want to continue this conversation. Uh, yeah, interesting that she's. And I need to just be. It's so difficult to listen and to also formulate a question in my mind and to remember it. That's why I have this piece of paper here. I need to write it down. I can't be hard on myself though. I cannot be hard on myself for this. You know what I mean? Come on. So we need to learn as a society and a culture to reach out to strangers via the internet in this kind of a way and to respect each other and to trust each other and to give each other the benefit of the doubt. Treat others as you would like to be treated. There's so much possibility with this. And unfortunately, the stigma is such where only freaks and awful people use it. It's the tool of the pedophile. It's really sad. But anywho, Cashew, nice to talk to you, and I'll be emailing you soon. We can talk again. Okay. Bye.